Kevin Cowan, what's your question for me?
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
I've been a fan since the beginning for the music and the videos, Mark. I'd love to ask you 3 questions, but the one I want to ask you about is about Ben Orr. I know you guys were close friends, and unfortunately he passed way too early. What was the extent of his contribution to the band?
Well, his looks. He had the wonderful voice that I mentioned, that was beyond. He was a great, actually, he could play more than just bass. He could play any instrument. He played drums for a while. He had a band in Cleveland when he was 16 years old called the Grasshoppers, and they had a hit at around the same time. I think Eric Carmen was also in Boston at that time, but they had a couple of big hits in the, when he was a kid. So he was kind of like a little pop star before when he was young. And when I met him, he wasn't even in a band. He was actually a booking agent, booking bands in colleges, and he came to see our band. That's how I met him in 1967. He was wanted to book us in the colleges, and he mentioned that he could sing. And I said, well, come on over to the house tonight and sing. And he came over, and with an acoustic guitar, he played Yesterday and a couple of Beatles songs. And I thought, are you serious? This is amazing. And seriously, on the next day, he was in the band. So I don't even remember the question, but I sort of got into a little history. But what was...
It was obvious that the question was about Ben and his contribution.
Oh, so his contribution, we kind of started, we were always the two of us. If it had, if we started a band, we would get other people, but Ben was in all the bands. So his contribution was just phenomenal. His voice and...
Pretty good bass player, too.
Phenomenal bass player.
Yeah. You mentioned before that early on people didn't realize that there was 2 singers in the band, which is really funny because your styles are quite different.
Yeah, they are.
But I agree with you on that.
Yeah. I agree with you that the styles are entirely different, so I don't know why people didn't realize.
I think I think if there is any one song that we think of with Ben, it's got to be Drive.
Yeah.
That is the song.
Yeah, he definitely nailed that one.
He nailed that one.
Yeah. And he nailed it probably in one take or two.
Is that right?
It's all he ever did. He just had this natural great voice,
Did it get to a point by that time that as you would write songs, you would start to think, that's Ben's going to sing that. It's going to sound amazing.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Was that one that you thought that
way? Definitely Drive. I thought for sure he would sing. No question.
Yeah.
He probably would have wanted to.
Right.
He probably would have asked me if I didn't think that, but that was one for sure.
Do you remember where that song came from?
Drive? Yeah, I do actually. It started off being a song that I did on a keyboard with a little drum machine that actually had more of a kind of beat, almost a Latin-y beat, with like a sort of a keyboard pad in the background. I kind of just remember writing that. Actually, that got changed a little bit when we did the album with Mutt Lange. It got that whole other beat, instead of the
Right.
No, never mind. I'm just getting lost.
Rick Ocasek's beatboxing, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty awesome.
So, yeah, that got changed a bit. But anyway, I knew he was going to sing that song. He did.
Do you remember the moment, the subject that you had in mind, or was there something that you saw or thought?
Well, I kind of... Yeah.
You say you work on lyrics and...
Yeah, I guess on that one I kind of did have a little sad thing going on there.
Share?
It sounded like a kind of a bar song. People go to bars to find other people and never find who they really want. They find somebody for a night maybe and then get left out in the cold. So I guess it was a little bit about that. Sounds a little trite, but that's...
Doesn't sound trite at all. It sounds really personal, which is it's interesting.
Yeah.
And I think all of us are thinking now, what happened to you that song was inspired?
I don't know that anything happened to me, but a lot of things, I think...
I know you were married at the time, so it wasn't...
Yeah, I was always married.